When you want to start a business, there's two ways to think about how you might start it. And in fact, if you're running a business already and it's struggling, it might be worth your while to go back to first principles and come and re-examine this that I'm going to explain to you today. First of all, you can think about your business as solving a problem. And secondly, you can think about your business as being a brand. Now, these two are not mutually exclusive, because when you're solving a problem for somebody, then you also have a brand. And when you're being a brand, you obviously also need some sort of a service or a product that solves a problem for somebody, that is the vehicle of your brand. But it's about what the primary purpose is of the business. Is that being a brand, or is that about solving a problem? Now, I know it sounds a little bit unusual and you might not have thought about it this way, but bear with me. So let's look at brand-driven businesses. We're looking at, the Nikes of the world, or Cadbury's, or Coca-Cola, or Apple, etc. So they are just being a brand for the sake of being a brand, and people who buy those products buy them primarily for psychological reasons. So not really when you buy that pair of shoes, there are a million alternatives that you can buy, but you choose Nike, and that's the primary driver, is what Nike means to you and what it stands for and what you associate with Nike as being the reason for the purchase. And the shoe is just the vehicle for the brand. And the same might go for Apple and other famous brands. So brands are solutions to different kinds of problems. It's about people wanting to enhance their reputation, improve their self-esteem, etc., etc., etc. But the end game, of course, when you start a business and you're starting at the problem-solving end, eventually you might want to be a brand as well, because that's the ultimate end game if you want to scale. And it's really interesting to think about this in this way, because brand building activities that take place when you start out your business is really often very incidental, and people don't really think about that. But it is important from the outset to think about what kind of brand you eventually want to grow into, even though that might not be the reason why people choose you in the beginning. So let's focus on this solve a problem business let's focus on this solve a problem strategy for starting a business, because that's the most common one. There are three kinds of problems that people might solve, and I distinguish between primary, secondary, and tertiary, but you can call it whatever you want. But let me explain what I mean by that. So when you're solving a primary problem for somebody, it's about, you're a plumber, somebody's got a blocked toilet, so you call the plumber, or you've got a pain in your stomach, or you need a brain surgery, then you need somebody with technical skills that's going to solve a problem for you. So it could be a product, could be a service, psychiatry, or whatever. So anything to do with things that need to be solved immediately. And if you don't solve it, it's quite painful. So that's often why we talk about this problem, is find people's pain. And another common expression is to sell painkillers, don't sell vitamins. That's the idea here. So when somebody has a problem, very often they will come and find you. So your marketing is actually less about being out there and seeking customers, but it's about being able to be found quite easily. So customers will come and seek you. You need to be easy to find. And the key differentiator for you is this: it's your skills. So if you need a brain operation, right? You don't care what the brain surgeon looks like. You almost don't care what he charges. What matters is that they're not going to kill you. So the quality of the outcome is really important. Now, these businesses are actually quite easy to start because it's quite easy to find those problems. The issue is you need quite a lot of skills, and very often you need time and you need capital to start those kinds of businesses. So the secondary kind of problems that we're focusing on, or that you could focus on, are things like having enough money for retirement, losing weight, getting in shape, selling your house, etc. These are things that people know it's a problem. It's quite evident, it's understood, but the impact isn't as immediate, and there's a little bit more of an onus on you to actually push and get your message out there and seek out these people and apply some persuasion skills. So the key differentiator or key success factor on this level of problem is your ability to persuade. So you must seek the customers. These are quite big niches, of course, typically, but they're still well defined. And then you find the problem area, and these are the tertiary type problems. This is where people don't have a website and they need a website, or they have a need to systematize their business, or you're selling a phone system and you think that they need a better phone because they can be more productive. The reason why these are the tertiary type problems is because they kind of one step removed from people's day-to-day thinking and experience. It's the kind of problem that it's still a problem, but you have to first persuade them that they have a problem, and then you have to sell them the solution. When somebody calls you because the lights are out and they need an electrician to come and fix it, then that it's pretty clear what the problem is, how it can be fixed, who's going to fix it, and what the solution looks like. But when somebody doesn't have a website, or they need to post more often on social media or those types of services, then they don't often see that as a problem. Or if it's a problem, it's really quite vague and unarticulated and undefined. It's a big task for the business person to first persuade the person that they've got a problem and that their solution will actually make their life better. These are tertiary problems, and now you need some skills. You need to persuade, and you need to mass market. So this type of problem, you think about it as a really big, shallow pool. You have to cast a wide net. You have to have a lot of rods in the water to catch these fish, because it's 10,000 emails to get 2 phone calls sort of thing in order to get people to respond, to just simply find people that recognize that as sufficient of a problem. This is also the space where people start a business very often because the cost of entry is usually lower. There's lower barriers to entry. They're very often service-orientated businesses. But not necessarily. You could even say keeping your garden in better shape, for instance, would be in this category, where some people might think their garden is just fine, and you think they could do a better job and have more native plants and be better for the environment or whatever. Then you're going to have a bit of a harder job selling them that the fact that they need to act on it, or removing junk and organizing their garage, that sort of thing. It's often something that people just learn to live with, and it's hard to persuade them. The key differentiator here is your ability to market. And this is where there's something really interesting, right? So you've noticed in this space, and if you've watched enough YouTube tutorials, you'll know that this is the case. A lot of the gurus out there that sell you the message, how to go from $0 to $10,000 MRR a month, blah, 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 blah. They're trying to sell you the solution. This is the reason why they do that, is because what they've actually discovered, the primary problem is, so you as the business starting out and you're struggling to get clients, you have a problem, right? You don't have clients. So this is the space where those gurus have discovered that, there's a problem I can solve. I can help those guys find more clients, or I can sell them the promise that I can help them find more clients if they only subscribe to my course, or buy my ebook, or whatever it is that they're flogging. They're actually making money at this level here, or maybe even at the primary level, while you're out there trying to start your AI automation agency or your social media marketing agency or whatever. They're actually the smart ones. They figured out, they can sell you the shovel and sell a lot of shovels in the process, rather than being out there trying to dig for diamonds. In each of these problem types, the brand does play a role. So if you're the brain surgeon or the plumber, the brand serves the purpose of aiding awareness. At the secondary level, the brand is more about trust. So if you're a real estate agent, having a good, strong brand is something that shows trust, because remember, you need to persuade people for them to be persuaded. then they need to know that they can trust you. If you're going to fix somebody's plumbing problem or give them brain surgery, then they just need to be aware that you are a brain surgeon. When you're operating at this third level, this tertiary level, then you kind of need all of those, and especially social proof. Social proof is what de-risks for the customers buying from you, the fact that you have proven yourself to others. What is the reason for us struggling with starting a business? So this is the crux, or the conclusion that we come to, is that you don't have a problem to solve. Now, how do we solve this problem of not having a problem to solve? And the answer is find a niche. Finding a niche isn't in and of itself the solution, because Nike isn't really in a niche, or Apple isn't really, or Amazon isn't in any kind of a niche. So you don't have to have a niche to succeed. It's certainly not imperative. But why is a niche good for somebody who's just starting out? What that does for you is it makes it easier for you to think about a person or a group of people and what kind of problems they may have. So if you think about, okay, I want to think about marathon runners, or I want to think about campers, or I want to think about cafe owners, or whatever, then you can start narrowing down and be quite specific and explicit about the kind of problems that they might experience. It literally just focuses your attention. And if you still can't think of a problem to solve for that niche, then at least you have that specific group of people to go and ask. So, okay, I know who's camping, or I know where to find some campers. And you can go and join a forum, or you can go and stand at a campground and just ask them questions. And that might help you to uncover what kind of a problem they have. And then once you've uncovered the problem, then knowing and understanding the problem and the people and the scenarios and the environments and the variations and and all the parameters that would apply in that product market fit setup, it just makes it easier to communicate to them. So you know where to communicate to them, when to communicate, what to communicate, because you focused again on selling something. So the niche in itself isn't the thing that's going to save you, but when you're starting out, narrowing down to it, it's just a good starting point. And then you can, I don't know what you call it, up niche, or just upscale as you go, and eventually just reach a wider market. And that's where the power of your brand will then start playing a role, because people now start seeking you out, because you're then swimming in that very big pond. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you on the other side.